Hey guys, welcome back. Dietitian Vanessa here, and today we are going to discuss whether or not you should stop avoiding consuming eggs because they're high in cholesterol. Now, in my opinion, and based on the research and the literature that I've reviewed, there seems to be two reasons why it may be difficult to figure out if food cholesterol or if eggs are increasing your blood cholesterol. The first reason is that most individuals who consume eggs are not going to see an increase in their blood cholesterol. Most are not, but some will. So that may be where we're getting some variation in the results, and I'll share with you guys the details in a second. Now, the second reason is that most foods, with the exception of shrimp and eggs, but most foods that are high in cholesterol are also going to be high in saturated fat. And saturated fat has been shown to increase blood cholesterol. So when you consume a food or you stop consuming a food that's high in cholesterol, you're also not consuming saturated fat. So which one was it that increased your blood cholesterol? Was it the food cholesterol, the saturated fat, or both? And we'll talk about that in a second as well. Okay, so let's go over the first reason. Not everybody responds to food cholesterol the same. And here's the thing, about 25% of the cholesterol circulating in our bloodstreams actually comes from the cholesterol in food or food cholesterol. Only 25%. The remaining 75%, which is most of the cholesterol circulating in our body, is actually synthesized in our body, specifically by the liver, the intestines, and the reproductive organs. And the body actually has a natural ability to keep cholesterol within healthy levels in our bloodstream. And it does this in three different ways. The first is that the body can actually reduce the absorption of cholesterol from food. So whether you're consuming eggs or shrimp or butter or pork or beef or chicken or cheese, all foods that are high in cholesterol, that doesn't mean that your body is going to 100% absorb all of the cholesterol in your food. The body is actually able to choose how much cholesterol it absorbs based on the level of cholesterol that we have in our bloodstream. Our body is also able to decrease the amount of cholesterol that it naturally produces in the body, and it's able to excrete more cholesterol out of the body through the feces. So again, our body has this natural ability, these mechanisms to be able to balance our cholesterol levels. Now you may be wondering or saying to yourself, well, if this is true, then why do people have different levels of cholesterol? Or why do some people see an increase in their blood cholesterol when they consume foods in high cholesterol? Well, here's the thing, that only 2 out of 3 individuals have this compensatory mechanism of balancing the blood cholesterol. Only 2 out of 3. These are the people who may consume eggs every day, they go and get their blood work done, and they have healthy levels of blood cholesterol. Now the other 33%, the 1 out of 3 individuals, they don't have this healthy cholesterol compensatory balancing mechanisms. These are the people that when they consume cholesterol in their food, their body actually absorbs more of that cholesterol, and their body makes more cholesterol internally, leading to high levels of blood cholesterol. Now you may be wondering why there's such individual variation to the response to food cholesterol. And what I can tell you is that it seems to be based on genetics, but there still needs to be more research done to actually assess what is going on and why do people respond to food cholesterol differently. So I think this is great for us to know because we all have a different response to food cholesterol. And this is where personalized nutrition comes into play. Maybe you're somebody who's able to tolerate cholesterol and somebody else isn't. So one size fits all in terms of should we consume eggs or not doesn't really apply because the answer may be different for most of us. Okay, so going on to reason number 2. It may be difficult to tell whether food cholesterol is increasing your blood cholesterol because most foods, with the exception of eggs and shrimp, but most foods that are high in cholesterol are also going to be high in saturated fats. Now, sometimes people get a bit confused and they think that cholesterol is the same thing as saturated fat, or that saturated fat is a type of cholesterol, but they're two very different components. And you can see this in the foods that we purchase. If you were to purchase an 80% lean, 20% fat ground beef, you're gonna see that it has about 80 milligrams of cholesterol and about 8 grams of saturated fats. Now, if you were to purchase a leaner ground beef, one with 10% fat, you would see that both their cholesterol and saturated content would come down because you're purchasing something with less fat. Now, this is just to show you that there are two different components. But again, one reason why you might hear that somebody went on a plant-based diet or somebody removed all saturated fats and their blood cholesterol came down, well, when you remove saturated fat, you're also naturally removing cholesterol. And it's really hard to tell, was it the food cholesterol that brought down your blood cholesterol, or was it the saturated fat, or was it both? Now, there's two foods that are high in cholesterol but low in saturated fat. Those are shrimp and eggs, but I'm gonna focus on eggs since this is an egg video. So one large egg has about 186 milligrams of cholesterol and 2 grams of saturated fat. Now, if you are somebody who's following a 2,000 calorie diet, in one day, you don't want to consume more than 22 grams of saturated fat. So eggs having 2 grams isn't really that significant. Now you may be wondering, so how much do eggs actually increase my blood cholesterol? Well, again, it's going to depend on what camp you fall under. If you're under the camp of individuals that are good cholesterol compensators and your body responds to food cholesterol in a healthy way, then studies show you're going to see an increase in blood cholesterol of about 2.5 milligrams per deciliter per every 100 milligrams of cholesterol consumed. Basically, that just means if you're consuming 2 eggs, the most that you're going to see your blood cholesterol increase by is by about 9 points or 9 milligrams per deciliter. Now, if you fall under the camp of individuals who doesn't seem to respond well to food cholesterol and who seem to absorb more food cholesterol and produce more cholesterol in their body, then you may see your blood cholesterol increase more than those 9 milligrams per deciliter. So let's talk about, what does this mean for you, or what can you do with this information? So I'm going to go over 3 scenarios and give you guys 3 different strategies that hopefully will be helpful. So the first scenario is for somebody who has healthy levels of blood cholesterol. So if you have healthy levels of blood cholesterol, we can assume that what you're doing in terms of diet and lifestyle seems to be working, at least in terms of that blood cholesterol part. And there may be no need to avoid food cholesterol or avoid eggs, especially because they are lower in saturated fat. So for you, you don't need to be ordering egg whites because eggs actually do have high nutrition. So don't be afraid of eggs. You can incorporate them in your diet, but I always encourage you to keep a lookout for your cholesterol blood work. Make sure that it doesn't increase through time. Now, the second scenario is for somebody who had high levels of cholesterol, but made changes in their diet, but still kind of misses eggs. And they wonder, if I can consume eggs, or are eggs totally going to increase my blood cholesterol? Well, you're actually in a very good spot, because you have healthy levels of blood cholesterol or blood cholesterol within range. So if you miss eggs and you want to add them back into your diet, then what you can do is a reintroduction of eggs. You can add them back in 1 or 2 eggs every day or a couple times a week. But the key thing here is you want to make sure to measure your blood cholesterol levels within 3 to 6 months of reintroducing the eggs, because it's really the results in your blood cholesterol that are going to tell you whether the food cholesterol increased your blood cholesterol, if that was the only dietary change that you made. Now, if your blood cholesterol is elevated, then that'll tell you, okay, yeah, it was the food cholesterol that I increased, because adding eggs back into your diet does significantly increase your cholesterol intake. But on the other hand, if you have healthy levels of blood cholesterol, then you're fine. Whatever amount of cholesterol you were consuming or eggs you were consuming seem to have not increased your blood cholesterol. Now, the third scenario is for somebody who has high levels of blood cholesterol right now. So for you, it's going to be a little bit more difficult or different, because we have to remember that there's other variables that contribute to high blood cholesterol. So those are sugar or refined carbohydrates, highly ultra-processed foods are going to increase your blood cholesterol. Saturated fat has also been shown to increase blood cholesterol, as well as not consuming enough fiber or enough vegetables. So fiber is going to help your body excrete more of that cholesterol out. So that can definitely help. And then in terms of that question of, well, my blood cholesterol is elevated, should I consume eggs? We don't actually know what's going to work best for you. So in terms of eggs, I do like to be more cautious and limit the consumption of the eggs, because again, we don't know if the eggs are increasing your blood cholesterol. So maybe try to limit a couple eggs a couple times a week. and work on the sugar, the saturated fat, and the fiber. I think those would give you more bang for your buck in terms of your efforts and helping you decrease your blood cholesterol. Once you're able to bring your blood cholesterol down and you miss eggs, you can do the same thing as scenario 2, where you reintroduce the eggs, test your blood cholesterol in about 3 to 6 months, and see what results you get. Well, I hope this information was helpful. If you are wondering what foods are high in saturated fat and high in cholesterol, I do have a food list available on my website at dietitianvanessa.com. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you on the next one.